Alright people, today we got a fun one. Today we got a really fun one. Today we're looking at the Joker in Dead by Daylight. A disclaimer, I don't ever think the Joker would actually come to Dead by Daylight, alright? I know he's in Mortal Kombat and stuff, but I don't think it would ever be in Dead by Daylight. This is just a really fun one. A good use of my time. I kind of saw it on my ideas list and I was like, I'm going to do this one. I don't even care. I want to do this one. So this is how he looks. I don't know what the hell he's doing. He's flopping about somewhere. I picked some random animations from Mixamo and chucked him on. So he's just, he's having a good time, all right? He's had a bad life. Let him enjoy himself for a little bit. But that's pretty much what I picture him in Dead by Daylight. I picture him to have kind of the basic Joker look about him. Like, there are so many cool aesthetics for Joker. Like, there's all the different ones, like the Heath Ledger character, the Jack Nicholson character, the Jared Leto character, maybe, I don't even know. That you can do so many different cosmetics and stuff. But I think this kind of look, kind of similar to the animated series look, is kind of what his basic character model would look like. If you think otherwise, you think of something else, let me know down below. But yeah, I think this would pretty much be the main one. The only kind of legendary cosmetic I thought about, because I've got in the habit of thinking of legendary cosmetics at this stage, the only one I thought about was maybe the Scarecrow, but that depends on what the power is. But if the power is kind of more like gas focused, laughing gas focused, you can maybe make the argument that you could have a Scarecrow skin. A lot of people suggested the Scarecrow as a killer in Dead by Daylight, which would probably fit a lot better than the Joker, but I fucking love the Joker, so I wanted to put him in as the main character. But yeah, I don't know. Let me know what you think about legendary cosmetics and whether or not you think the Scarecrow would fit. When it comes to the map, I think you're pretty limited. I mean, it's pretty much Gotham City, and if you think about where the Joker kind of does his operations, it's pretty much going to be like a warehouse or back alley, kind of decked out in the Joker style with like Jack-in-the-Boxes and like graffiti and kind of like a red, green, purple color scheme going around. I think that would be pretty cool to see, but I don't think there's anything really I can think of that would be massively kind of obvious for this kind of thing. I mean, if you guys have any suggestions, obviously let me know, but I think that kind of thing would look really cool, like a really kind of dirty, kind of criminal, kind of like just painted, absolutely destroyed and ransacked by the Joker's crew, kind of back alley or warehouse would probably fit it quite well. I've omitted a weapon on purpose from the front screen because I think there are so many good ideas you could come up with, and I couldn't find a really good picture to put there, but the main one is probably the cane that has a sword in it. I think that would have a really cool animation to kind of slide the survivors up, or you could just have a basic dagger, which I know the Joker uses a lot. Maybe a cool idea, now bear with me here, a cool idea would be his pistol that fires out a flag that says bang on it, and he fires that and then just pistol whips the survivors. I think that would be pretty cool, very funny. But it would probably get old after maybe, I don't know, 2 swings, so maybe not, but I think that was a cool idea. Maybe if you just have the pistol and just pistol whip people anyway, I think that would be pretty sweet. Before we get into the power and the perks, I just want to say, obviously there's a clown in Dead by Daylight already, okay? I mean, technically the Joker's not a clown, but he dresses like a clown and maybe like a jester, I don't really know, but I just know the kind of comments I'm gonna get, because I got it on the Pennywise video, even though he's not really a clown. I got all the same comments, so just shush, okay? I know there's a clown in Dead by Daylight. This doesn't count, all right? It doesn't count, and it's not serious. Oh, for the 17,000th time. It's not fucking serious. All right. Let's get on to the power, the perks, and the stuff we actually care about. Let's look at the attributes. We've got a basic speed, 4.6 meters a second. I think pretty much standard. He could be really slow and menacing, maybe, but I think it's it would probably be a bit weird if he wasn't 4.6 meters a second. There's nothing wrong with him. You know, he's nothing wrong with the guy. You can just walk normally. It's fine. I mean, I say there's nothing wrong with him. There's definitely something wrong with him. I mean, in terms of the way he walks. He walks fine. It's okay. Don't worry about it, guys. 32 meters a second tear radius. I debated with this. Maybe he could have a bit of stealth to him, but I think in general, his chase music would be fucking amazing. We can all agree that the Joker's chase music would be insane. So I think we'd all want to hear that for as long as possible. So 32 meters a second, 32 meters, not per second, 32 meters would make complete sense, and I am 100% happy with that, okay? No debate. There's no debate about that. Naturally, he's average height. I mean, I guess he's meant to be kind of tall in the comics, but he wouldn't be as tall as, say, the Demogorgon or Dearest, so we're kind of sticking with an average height, which makes total sense. Let's go to the power. The power I've called the last laugh. So if any of you have ever heard about the Joker, you know that he's pretty much just an absolute psychopath that uses really fun kind of weapons to do really bad shit. So kind of, I went with that kind of vibe with the ideas they came up with. So there's a couple of ideas. The first one is venom-coated playing cards, which don't injure people, but kind of build up a laughter effect sort of thing. I was thinking that the more you hit, the more it fills up the bar until it reaches like 100% full, and then some sort of effect happens. I haven't gone into a lot of detail because there are so many ideas. I wanted to kind of get them all out, and then if you guys have any specifics or if it inspires any of you to come up with your own ideas, feel free to let me know. I love reading them. So The second one I came up with is a giant boxing glove, which would be really hard to aim. I think in order to get this to work, it would have a really long range. It would be really hard to aim, but it would fucking like knock survivors like miles. It would... I'm just picturing it. I just picturing a fucking Claudette being launched across the map. I think it'd be hilarious. The third thing could be something like exploding teeth, which he uses on occasion. I think in the comics it's meant to be just his normal teeth, but I'm picturing like, you know, the chattering teeth that like clockwork and wind up and like jump around everywhere. I'm picturing those, and you could probably throw them, and then they, after a little bit of time, they explode and injure people. That would be kind of cool. We don't really have any like throwing area of effect killers, really. I don't think. People correct me if I'm wrong anyway, so maybe we do, but I don't think we do. Handshake buzzer is my fourth idea, and this is when I was reading up on the Joker, and I was like, I remember him using this in the animated series, and it's really cool. It's like when he goes in for a handshake, and you know those things you used to get when you were a kid that like vibrate and make a little buzz and pretend to like electric shock you. He has a real one that actually gives you an electric shock. So I thought in the game it would be cool if he like reaches forward, like does like a lunge and slaps people with it, and then they get electrocuted. But then the main effect of that is that over time they get like aftershocks. I don't think aftershocks is the right word. I think aftershocks is for not volcanoes, fucking earthquakes. But I think that aftershocks would be really cool if they're like doing generators and stuff and they get shocked, then it regresses the generator, kind of like they've shorted the circuit or something along those lines. I thought that would be a pretty cool idea. And then finally, we've got laughing gas, which is a similar thing to the first one, but instead of the cards inflicting it, it would be the either canisters around the map or the you know, the little flower he's got where he squirts it and it normally sprays gas or acid in people's faces. I thought that with a laughing gas with some sort of laughter effect would be really cool. I'm not sure what a laughter effect would do realistically. Like, it's quite a hard thing to think about. Like, what would a laughter effect do? It without being too similar to like the pig or the doctor, because it's so similar to the doctor in terms of making people insane. So I don't really know what would happen with it, but if you guys have any ideas, obviously, like I say about a billion times, let me know. But I think that was pretty much all the ideas I had for the power. And yeah, I quite like them. Obviously they wouldn't happen, but I just love to think about it. I just love the idea of a giant boxing glove hitting Claudettes out of the way. Not just Claudette. I don't just hate Claudette. I hate Meg as well. But those are the two main ones, pretty much. But yeah, I think that will be really funny. So let's move on to some ideas for teachable perks. Let's look at too much fun. So I wanted to make a perk where after chasing a survivor for a certain amount of time, the next hit has an effect that's beneficial to the killer. This could be a few different things. This could be like the exposed effect, or anything that's kind of... It could be a debuff to a survivor, or it could be a boost to a killer. Those are the kind of things I was thinking, but I wanted it to be triggered by chasing a survivor for a certain amount of time, because I think this quote about too much fun, this comes from the Joker talking about Batman, how he could never kill him because it's too much fun to chase him and like play games with him. And I thought that would be a really fun idea to have a perk that's triggered by chasing survivors for an amount of time. So it almost encourages killers to play with the survivors a little bit and kind of like tease them. So as I've written here, it encourages killers to purposefully get into long chases. Survivor thinks they're godlike, then their dreams get destroyed. And I love the evilness of that. I'm just picturing a really good rank 1 killer going up against a survivor with friends, that they're winning, but they just stay in the chase that's just a little bit longer so they get the benefit from this perk, and then they can just steamroll them. I think a little bit sadistic, but that's what the Joker's all about, right? So I like that idea. I think something like that would be really cool. So the second perk is called Why So Serious? And it's kind of obvious why. I mean, it's the most famous Joker quote ever since Heath Ledger did it in The Dark Knight. You know, it's everywhere. It's a meme and everything. So it would be wrong to not include it in the concept, okay? It would just be plain wrong. So this perk is something that punishes survivors for actually doing their objective. Hence, Why So Serious? It's like, why you try hard kind of thing is what I'm going for. So I was thinking, like, if a certain number of generators are completed within a time period, survivors get negatively affected in some time. So kind of punishes gen rushing in a weird way. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with gen rushing realistically, and there are plenty of perks to combat it, but I think that having something that, like, it's a bit Joker-esque, isn't it? If you like go through it too fast, or like if Batman, for instance, was like going through his henchmen too quickly, he'd have something to say about it and he'd do some sort of trap or something. So I thought that would be a really cool idea. I've written down that possibly with the exposed effect or generators being blocked. I quite like the generators being blocked, but maybe like 1 or 2 instead of all of them. I don't really know what I would do for it, but I just really wanted that trigger. I wanted it so that if survivors are being really good, basically, if survivors are really good, the Joker would punish them for basically being no fun. That's kind of what I wanted to do. If the Joker was the survivor, there'd probably be another one. It would be the same thing for the killer. If the killer was hooking people too quickly, there'd be a negative status effect. But Obviously, the Joker can't be a survivor. I mean, he can't be a killer, but you know what I mean. He makes more sense as a killer than a survivor for the point as a concept, is what I'm trying to say. Anyway, perk number 3. The third perk is called Magic Trick, and I love this idea for a Joker character. I think it needs to be like a perk that deceives survivors, like a trap. I love the idea of placing traps not through a power, like through a perk. I think that's a kind of something they haven't done necessarily yet, apart from Haunted Ground, maybe. And I know people really don't like Haunted Ground and don't like the idea of traps coming from perks because there's no way of detecting them realistically. But the idea for this is you can trap a game element with an E key. I've written game element because it could be a number of things. You could either do a generator, locker, or a dull totem. Obviously, you'd pick one for the perk, but I thought I'd list them just to give people food for thought, like think about what you could potentially do. And then when a survivor interacts with a trap, they're negatively affected with damage effects, or you'll be able to see the auras. Again, it's hard to decide because there's so, when you start to do it a bit broader instead of being specific, when you start to think about like broad effects that could happen based on the character, it does make it quite difficult because as much as I would love something that traps people, like what is balanced? You know, what is a balanced thing to happen? Like what, if you interact with if you trap people and made it do damage, then you could just put it on generators and then it's gonna, you know, it's gonna happen. Or if you put it on totems, that's not really gonna trigger that much. You know, people don't necessarily do totems all the time, so it's really difficult to come up with how it would work. But all I know is if the Joker came into Dead by Daylight, I would want something where you can trap something and it has a negative effect. I'd love exposed, or I'd love exposed, or for them to take damage, but I don't think that would realistically happen. But obviously, there'd be the stipulation that you can only trap a certain number of objects per game. You can't just go around trapping everything because it's not your power at the end of the day. It's just a perk. And the thing is, you'd have to choose what you apply traps to really carefully because you're wasting a perk slot. Essentially, you're wasting a perk slot. If survivors don't do the thing, like if you choose a locker, right, and they don't go in the locker, same as Iron Maiden. If you take Iron Maiden into a game and nobody goes in a bloody locker, you have wasted a perk slot. And you only get 4 of those things. You only get 4 of those things. You don't want to waste one. So I think... yeah, I think a trap idea would be pretty cool for the Joker. Now then, let's talk about the Mori. I think when I mentioned that I might do the Joker, somebody said that it should be the fatality from Injustice. No, not from Injustice. There's no fatalities in Injustice, is there? There's fatalities in Mortal Kombat vs. DC Universe. I did play that game a lot. I can't remember what his Mori is, though. It's either with the gun. I was thinking a really cool Mori would be he fires his gun with a flag in it, which I've already mentioned. And then the signature move is he fires that gun, then he fires it a second time, and the flag shoots out with amazing force and kills people. I think that would be a really cool Mori. Or alternatively, you've got the buzzer, so you could just, you know, electrocute them and they could and then just disintegrate. That would be a cool one. They wouldn't really disintegrate, but, you know, for the game. It's a game at the end of the day. Another idea for the Mori could be the boxing glove. Like, he absolutely just pummels people with that extended boxing glove, which would look hilarious. And I would fucking love to see it. But I think probably the most sinister one would be the Joker Venom. So if he maybe had it in a gas canister or in his flower, as I mentioned before, he then does a lethal dose, which means that the survivor laughs to the point that they cannot breathe anymore and just suffocate. Kind of like the nurse's Mori. Like, we can't say that's too graphic for Dead by Daylight because the nurse has got a suffocation Mori, so we could do a suffocation Mori with the Joker. It's just like, oh, there's so many good ideas, and they would have to be so brutal, but comedic at the same time. And it's weird. It's weird to think that it's funny, because it's murdering people. But at the end of the day, it's a Joker, and that's what it's all about. So I don't really know. I'm sure this is one of the ones where everybody's going to have amazing ideas for the Mori for the Joker. So don't hesitate to comment. If you don't know what to comment, just comment a ghost emoji or something, just so I know you're there. But I do hope you enjoyed the video. I really do. And if you did like it, make sure you leave a like and subscribe. I want to do more of these fun kind of ones, you know? I like the serious ones that are like, not serious, but, you know, I like the ones that are based on what could actually happen, but I love these really fun ones where there's no chance they're gonna happen, but it's just fun to edit and just put the thumbnails together and shit. But I hope you enjoyed. Make sure you leave a like and subscribe if you did, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.